Welcome back, CSC103, to our exercise 8. And there's two videos we're going to create. The first one is going to be Patrick Technology, exercise 8. This is for our audio visual unit. And I already created an account in WeVideo, and it's a little bit different than the past, so that's why I'm creating a new video. And I'm logged in, and I didn't have to verify an email, at least from what I saw so far, so it seems to be okay. Now, what I want to show you is under handouts and documents and resources, if you go down to Unit 7, now I didn't update this yet, so this is still old. So if you go here, this is still the older instructions for WeVideo. I mean, it won't be a whole lot different, but there's some minor changes. And this is the PowerPoint stuff that you could go through, and there's some other videos too that you want to go through under bookmarks. I also want to point that out. Under bookmarks, there's some stuff to go through. But for this exercise, there's two things. There's a zip file that you could download, and there's also a Google Drive link. So if you're familiar with downloading a zip file and unzipping it, all your items are going to be in here. There's some audio clips, there's some video clips, there's some images that are in here. So this is a zipped file. If you're familiar with that, download it and then extract it and unzip it, and you'll have all the files you need. If you're not familiar with doing it that way, and maybe you have a Chromebook or something, you might want to use this one. So I'm going to click on this, and you'll see a bunch of these files. And there's 4 that say Patrick, just so you know when they go to your downloads. There's 4 that start with Patrick. There's 2 that start with Bikini Bottom, and there's closing credits, and this is Patrick. So these are the files. So if you go to download all, it's going to make it a zip file again. So if you're not familiar with doing zip files, then you could just download these one at a time. And I'll go through doing that because that might be the easiest if you're not familiar with zip files. But you should be familiar with extracting zip compressed files and unzipping them and even compressing them. But for now, we'll focus on just getting these 8 files. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to use these in our video. Otherwise, we wouldn't have anything to put in our video. So we're going to use these images. There's a WAV file. There's JPEGs. There's a PNG. There's an MP4, which is audio video. Here's a PNG that has a transparent background, and there's a WAV file, and there's an M4A file, which is also an audio file, and an MP4, which is a video with audio. So we're going to use these. We're going to download these. So if you're not familiar with zips, just download these. So I'm just going to go here and download them, and it's downloading them to my downloads. So I'll just go through one at a time and download these. And there'll be 8 altogether. There's 4. There's 5, there's 6, there's 7, and there's 8. So they're all downloaded, and they should be in my downloads. And when they're in your downloads, you can leave them there, and I'll show you what may be easier to do. If you go back to WeVideo, now I didn't create anything new yet, but what you can do is you can go to Media. Before you even create a file, go to Media, and bring in all the stuff that you need. So I'm going to go find my downloads, and here's my downloads, and there's all the files I just downloaded. There should be 8 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 4 that say Patrick, and there's 2 that say Bikini Bottom. There's 2 that start with Bikini Bottom, and there's closing credits, and this is Patrick. So these files, what I'm going to do is click on the one and then hold shift and click on this, or you could do it one at a time and drag them in here. So I'm on media. I didn't even create a file yet. I didn't create a video yet, but I'm going to put my media in here so I have them available for everything I do. So under media, I'm going to drag these in. And that doesn't work if you drag them in because it just opens them up in a browser. So what you should do is go add media and drag them here. So it's a good thing I tried that. But anyway, now I'm going to drag them here. You can't just drag them here the way I did it because they open up in a browser. So make sure you hit add media, and then you can drag them here. So drag them in this import media window. Now I'll drag them all here. And they're importing. So they'll show up here, and you should see them all listed when they all get imported. So it's halfway, so it may take 30 seconds or so to import this stuff. So I think that's it. There should be 8 files. They're not very big. They're not big files at all. And there should be 4 Patrick, 2 Bikini Bottom, and a closing credits, and a this is Patrick. So that's all you need. So once they're in your media, you're ready to get started. So it's 100%. Now we're going to make our file. We're going to go to Create New. We're going to go to Video, and we'll use full featured editor. We don't need to use the simplified one, full featured editor. And this is new, so on the older video it doesn't have this. So create new full featured editor, and to give it a name, go up where it says MyVideo. I know it doesn't look like a name, but go up here, double click in it, or just click once and go 8 Patrick Technology. You could put a dash in there, it doesn't matter. And if you want to put your last name, first initial, you could do that too. So there it is, and hit enter. And now that's saved. So that's the name that's saved. And when you go down here, they do have a save. So after you work, there is a save here. And that's all I need right now. And I can see all my media that's here. And here's my timeline down here. And we're going to drag and drop things from up here down into here. And we're also going to use some text in here as well. And you can see there's text, there's video, and there's audio. So we're going to bring that stuff in. So we're going to get started. And you saw from the sample, we're going to bring in some text first. So I'm going to go to text. I'm just going to use the sample text. Don't use any of these because these are the paid plan. So just use sample text. And I'll drag it in. And I could just put it on text, I guess. I could put it on video too. I don't think it matters if it's on video because we are going to have video after it. And you could double click on it to edit it. And we're going to put "This is Patrick." And we're going to change the background color. Now let's see how they change the background color. This changed a little bit. And they used to have an option where you could change the background color. No, it's just changing that. It's not changing the background color. Oh, wait, box. Oh, they have it here. So let me go to, if the text is going to be white and the box is going to be blue. We'll use blue because it's like it's under C. So I'll use like a blue color. And then you can make this box the size of the windows. So just make the box real big. Then you'll have that kind of background there. And then if you want to change the font, you could go here from Roboto and use something like Bangers, Alpha Slab 1, something that's just real distinctive. And I'll go here and I'll make it bigger. I'm just going on the up arrow here. This is Patrick. So I'm just putting that in there. So that's all that says is "This is Patrick." So remember, I went here, I made the text white, and I made the box blue. And then I resized the box. It already was centered, although I used this here. And that's all you have to do, but then you do have to hit Save Changes. And if you want to see what's going on, hit the play button. And there it is. And not much is happening here. I'll close this up. And it's a little long. Let's see how long this is. It should say on here, or do I hover over it? It's saying it's 8 seconds. I'm hovering over it, saying 8 seconds. I don't want it 8 seconds. I probably need it like 3 seconds. So how do you shorten that? Select it, and then go on the purple here and shorten it. And now I'll hover. It's about 5 seconds. I'll make it a little shorter. It's not showing me the seconds as I go down. So I'll take it down about 3, close to 3. So 3 seconds. And then I'll go like that. And it'll say "This is Patrick," and then it'll do something else. Now, I want it to fade in and fade out. So to do that, I can double click on this to edit it. So go right in the middle here and double click. And I'll cancel this. If you want it a little bigger, I think they do have a zoom down here. This is add track. It's not that. There's a zoom down here. I guess it's this. You can make it a little bit bigger here. And that might be easier for editing. So that way I could get it to like 3 seconds. And then double click here. And go back in this text thing and go to animation. And you don't have to do anything other than turn on fade. And it should do an automatic fade in and fade out automatically. So that's all it should do. So just turn on fade, and it already has an automatic fade in and fade out. It's not showing it here, so that's not really helpful. But if you save changes and then you play it, you should see a fade in and fade out if you watch over here. There it is. This is Patrick, and it fades out. Okay, now we're going to throw in 2 video clips. So I'm going to go into my media, because that's where the stuff is, under media. And first, I'm going to throw in Patrick phone. I'm going to throw this one in first. Patrick phone. I'll put that one there. And this is the one where it says, "Hello, Krusty Krab," and all that. So I'm just going to drag that in there. And I could move the playhead back. This is the playhead. And I'll hit play. And you can see it fades out. Now, it just starts here. I could throw a transition in here, even though there is a fade out. I could go here and find a transition. anything, cross dissolve, anything I want, and kind of drag it right in between. And let me just see what this looks like. And it does something like that. So that's the transition. And then after that one, I'm going to go to my media, and I'm going to drag in Patrick Technology. So this is Patrick Phone. Then I'm going to drag in Patrick Technology and put that there. And it says add a transition. So it's suggesting things. I'll just move that over. And I'll throw the same one in, unless you want to try a different one. Different transition. Cross mosaic, cross fade, whatever. I think there's like a cross blur or something. All different things here. Paper plane, curtains. We'll use the curtains later. There's a parasol, all kinds of stuff here. I'll stay kind of simple right now. I'll do a cross blur, and I'll drag that in between there. So we have text, we have a clip, an MP4, and then an MP4. And let's just see what we have so far. Now you can't hear video. I don't have my system video on. But if I hit play, it says this is Patrick. Now it says this is Patrick. If you want audio in there, go to My Media. And we do have a clip that says this is Patrick. And I'm going to drag it onto my audio area. And I'll put it right over there. And then when you play it, it'll say this is Patrick. And I think it's less than 3 seconds anyway. It's like a second 19. So we can throw that in there. And it'll kind of end up at the end of This is Patrick. So it'll say This is Patrick right there. And I'm not playing it right now, but you've heard that This is Patrick thing. And it'll be like this. This is Patrick! Okay, that's what it'll be like. And then after that, it's going to go into here. And then you will hear the audio from this clip. And then you'll hear the audio from this clip. And then the last thing you'll do is you'll put on some closing credits. Now there is closing credits music. And we'll put that in after we put in the closing credits. But let's go get closing credits. Now how do we do that? We go to text again, and we scroll to special. They have special under text, and here they have like a closing credits thing. And I'm just going to drag that right on the video. Even though they have a text layer, I'm going to throw it there. Now this is way too long. And if you play it, it just does that. And if I hover over, it says it's like 8 seconds. I want it like 5 seconds or so. And you can even go to My Media and drag in this closing credits music. Now the music is longer, so you could shorten the music and have it fade out or whatever. But I mean, even if you left it 8 seconds, but what we're going to do is we're going to animate this so this scrolls up. And how do we do that? Well, let's double click on this. Remember, for text to edit, we'll double click on it. We'll go in here and it says directed by, and I'll put my name, Richard Homa, and then it's produced by me, Richard Homa, and you could put your name, and actor 1 is SpongeBob SquarePants. I'm not putting the capital letters in there. And actor 2 is Patrick, and his name is Star, Patrick Star. So we have both actors in there, and you could change the font if you want to. If you want to highlight this and make it Roboto, or even just bold, Roboto bold, something like that. If you want to change the color, you could go over here. Maybe you want to make it yellow or kind of a pale yellow. Then we'll go to animation, and we'll go to start position, and we'll move it down. We'll move it down here. It's going to start down here. And then we'll go to end position, go right here to end position, and we're going to move it up. And it doesn't have to be that straight. We'll just move it off screen, and that's it. And if you play it, there it comes. Okay, and then make sure you save changes. And now we're going to play the whole video. And if you haven't saved, you could go here and do save. And now I'm going to play the video, and it's going to preview over here. And it's going to play the audio stuff. You'll hear the phone ring and hear him say Krusty Krab and stuff like that. Then we have a transition. Then we have this. And see, this is about technology. That's why this is good for this lesson. It's technology. And then we're going to have the credits and the music. Now, what's going to help the music at the end is to have the music fade out. And how do we do that? We can double click here, and they have a fade out. And you could just say fade out 2 seconds or something like that. It'll have a fade over 2 seconds. You don't have to really fade in because it kind of fades in anyway. So that's all you have to do there, save changes, and you're done. And you can go File, Save, and that's the end of your first video. And the second one will be probably a little quicker. So anyway, just to rewind again, I'll rewind to the beginning, and this is what it looks like. And you'll hear it say, "This is Patrick." There's a cross dissolve fade. Then there's this clip. Then there's a cross blur fade. And use any one you want. It doesn't matter. And then the credits will come at the end. So just a little bit of introduction to working with a timeline and putting some clips on there and doing some transitions. And there it comes. It's running a little slow in here. And again, you know, we're at the bottom of the barrel with the free version here, so you're not going to see really great quality. You'll have a watermark. But then, when you're finished, click on Finish. And there's what it's called. And when you're done, you have to export it, because you're going to export video. You're not going to export audio only. They have choose a thumbnail. Don't worry about a thumbnail. You have to export here, and then it's going to take a little time, and then you could share the link, just like we do for our other files. You'll share a link. So when you get to here, you're going to hit export. And it may take a little time. It'll say your export is queued. You don't have to keep this open. It'll send an email, and you know, if you get tired of waiting, it shouldn't usually take long. It's not a long video, but if you get tired of waiting, it'll send you an email when it's ready. But where you can get this, if you don't know, if you're like, well, how do I get back there? You can go hit the back button here, this arrow, and go back, and go back to editor. And you could even close the editor. And if you go to exports, this is where you should see it. Now there it is. I don't know if it's ready yet. Exports. You could click on it. It's still queued. So it's not ready yet. So I'll go back. But once it's ready, you're going to share the URL and you're going to put it in the assignment. And I'll go over doing that just so you remember how to do that. So I'll go back home. I'll go back to exports. I'll see if it's ready. Still not ready yet. Okay, I think it's ready because I see it here. I don't know what magic I did. I did open export. And there it is. So it's ready. Now it used this as the thumbnail. You could make another thumbnail. I'm not sure why it did this and not the beginning. But anyway, once you finally have this, to share it, you're going to go down here to this button, which is share link, and not Facebook, not Twitter. You're going to go here, share the link, and you could use copy to clipboard, because you're just going to copy the link. You're not going to embed any code. Just copy to clipboard, and then you could close, and then go back to coursework, and then go down to Unit 7 for this one. Now this is still older stuff here, and you're going to go here, click on the assignment itself, and then go to Add Comment, and insert a link, paste the link, and make sure this opens up a new window, just like you did for your other assignments for Tinkercad. Well, not for Tinkercad, but for Figma that you use that for. So hit save. And that's it. That's all you have to do for that first assignment. Now you're going to add a second comment when you do your second video. So this is the first video, and then you're going to add a comment and do your second video, which is going to be Patrick animation. So we're going to do that next. So again, if you're here and you don't know how to get back, you know, to where you were, just go to this back button and you can go to home. You can go to exports. This is your first exports. Your media is going to be available for everything you do. So when we create our next assignment, we'll create new and we'll do our Patrick animation one next. So that's what we're going to do next. So the first one was our Patrick video. It shouldn't take that long, and it should be fun to kind of mess around with it. So we're going to work on our Patrick animation next.